Welcome back to Beyond the Shell. Today we're going to be talking about figures with interesting origins.
Toyland had so many unique and creative figures, guys, and these were designed by many of the Mirage staffers. We're going to be talking about how some of these figures came to fruition at the end of the day.
Yeah, they're often designed by Mirage staffers, but also sculpted by Varner Studios.
I've said this in many videos, guys. I love these figures for the fact that they're kind of like mini statues. At the end of the day, they don't have the most posability, but again, the sculpts and designs on these figures are just so memorable and iconic.
So the first figure we're going to be talking about today is Worm. And Worm is a fantastic figure. He's got such amazing details that it has been a staple of these Playmates figures. He's got an amazing, huge opening jaw and eye-popping action once you pull these little tendrils or hair at the top of his head. Such a beautiful figure. His name is Worm, but he's got like octopus suctions all over him. He's wearing a unsanitation department uniform.
Love that detail.
Such a beautiful figure. When I first got into seriously collecting this toy line, he was one of the first mutants that I was like, oh my god, I need to get him. Especially since I'm such a huge fan of the Toxic Crusaders toy line, which this figure looks like it's coming straight out of. This was a figure I definitely needed to get.
Long live Trauma also.
Yeah. That Playmates line, too, is amazing. Love Toxie, love Toxic Avenger, love Toxic Crusaders. And we also have the NECA Worm, which is from Buddy's collection, which is in the 80s TV show style, but there's an interesting story behind this figure as well.
So, Worm appeared only in a commercial, guys, but it was pretty neat seeing him in the animation style of the 87 cartoon.
Yeah, it's really nice that NECA keeps expanding their lines by doing these figures of characters that maybe they were in the background or got a second of screen time, or even in the cartoon or in a show or a movie, but they're doing it. Again, in NECA we trust.
In NECA we trust.
So Buddy, you want to get into some comic book origins?
Sure thing. Worm's origin is a story similar to the origins of Man-Thing and Swamp-Thing. Both were kind of created around a similar time, seeing how we would get the River Trilogy by Rick Veitch in 1989, around the summertime. This would be a really fun horror trilogy featuring a character called Bloodsucker, a mutant leech created when it latched onto Raph and drained some of his mutagenic blood. Later on, we would get Worm, who appears like this. Pretty similar to Bloodsucker. A lot of the horror elements were still similar to Bloodsucker, but just kind of dulled down. But again, when I say dulled down, take a look at this cover, guys. This was a kid's comic.
Yeah, the cover almost looks like a kaiju battle. It's pretty sick. But it's an Archie comic, so they gotta tone it down a little bit. Understandable. It's interesting to see Worm in this all yellow, and is very similar in design to the action figure that we would get later on in 1991, but it makes sense that a character created for the comics would be made more toyetic and vibrant and colorful and a little less scary and wearing clothes for a children's toy line.
To get into why people believe Worm was created was due to the fact that Rick Veitch, who created the River, didn't want his character, Bloodsucker, being used, seeing how he created, and again, wanted to be compensated. Again, like Man-Thing and Swamp-Thing, both are awesome. We love Bloodsucker, and we love Worm. Worm would be used multiple other times throughout the history of the franchise in such books like TMNT Universe 6, and later on the 2012 show, making his first debut in a TV series.
So the next figure we're going to talk about is Toka. This figure came to us in the Movie Stars line for TMNT Secret of the Ooze. This is a beautiful figure. It's great to get a movie-inspired evil mutant turtle, this one being a snapping turtle. It's funny how dumb and almost lovable Toka and Razar are in the movie.
Mama? Oh, Mama!
Amazing to get them in this original Playmates action figure style.
I find it funny in the 87 cartoon where they're just speaking complete and full sentences. It is such a funny contrast compared to the Mama versions.
I also have the Micro Mutants playset of Toka, where we get the baby snapping turtle Toka, and this thing is so adorable. It's menacing.
It looks like Gamera.
And then he opens up to be a Technodrome playset, which is such an interesting choice, but such a great figure.
Utterly wild and utterly awesome.
It's great enough to get a almost life-size baby Toka, but just to get a sick Technodrome playset for the micro figures, win-win, baby. We've mentioned that Toka was in the second movie, but buddy, tell us about his origins in the comic books.
Oh, it's funny you should mention that, because Toka was used due to the fact that they couldn't use Bebop and Rocksteady. And like we've said, if you look on the back of the Toka figure, you'll see created by Steve Bissette, legendary Swamp Thing artist and a pretty frequent contributor to the Mirage books. Now, Steve created Terrapin. Dude was planned to come with a little micro buddy, always gotta love those. And it was unfortunately cancelled. But like I'd said, 2 mutants were needed, seeing how the film couldn't use Bebop and Rocksteady. So they decided to repurpose Terrapin into Toka. Alligator snapping turtles, common snapping turtles, really awesome animals at the end of the day. And just seeing one with a giant wolf was always really awesome. And again, just the Jim Henson Company brought those characters to life so fantastically. But it would be funny seeing how later on in the Jim Lawson run, Volume 2, a giant turtle named Terrapin would just happen to show up. You have Leo running for his life, running from a giant alligator snapping turtle. And again, Jim Lawson's art on this, guys, it is utterly perfect. Like, just, I love how he brings Leo to life in this. Take a look on that back advertisement.
The back. It's Casey and Wrath in the back.
Yeah, body count.
Body count issue 1, basically. Very, very cool. The final figure with an interesting origin we're going to talk about is Shote.
We don't got one, because we don't got the money for one.
Little does Buddy know, I stole all of his banking information earlier, and I'm going to buy Shote on eBay. Buddy, if you see a $500 transaction from eBay, ignore it. I don't have your card. This is just an extreme dinosaur.
Thanks, NECA. We love you for making an affordable Shote.
In NECA we trust, but sometimes it's a bust.
Michael Dooney, one of the best of all time, guys.
Just another example of the spider web of these videos. We've mentioned Dooney before. We've mentioned body count before. We've mentioned a million of these things before.
Jim Lawson.
Everything connects.
The Bibble.
Does the Bibble connect to any of this somehow?
No, but
we just have it.
It just has to be here.
It has to be here for good luck, I guess.
Yeah. Praise the mighty Jimmy. In April of 1992, we would get the 2-parter in issues 46 and 47. And again, 47 would be kind of significant as it would feature the first appearance of Space Usagi by Stan Sakai.
Woo!
Woo! Yeah, baby! That's what I've been waiting for. That's what it's all about. Woo!
This is the legendary time travel story featuring Renette, feudal Japan, a Dino, Ronin, and Savante Romero pulling all the strings in the background, being the jerk that he is.
Renette and Savanti. Where have we heard that before?
Oh, yeah.
It's a spider web, I told you! Again, both beautiful covers by Dooney and some amazing artwork in these books.
One of my favorite panels at the end is when Renette gives Shote a happy ending and sends him to the future. And then...
Dude, when you said when Renette gives him a happy ending, my mind was somewhere else, buddy.
Oh, no, bro!
He gets sent to the future.
And there's a pretty neat little cameo from another really awesome Michael Dooney character.
Which is...
Fluffy from Gizmo. Go home, guys. The movie's over.
So rude. We gotta let them down easier, buddy. Okay, folks, that pretty much wraps it up for this episode of Beyond the Shell. Again, stay tuned for more episodes coming soon. Feel free to like, comment some stuff you want us to cover, and subscribe.
Subscribe. And as always, praise the mighty Jimmy.
I can't wait for the day that gets old. I feel like it's gonna be soon.
This video will be released on Buddy's birthday. Everybody, comment happy birthday for Buddy. And Buddy, happy 45th birthday. Live it to the fullest. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Mr. President. Happy birthday to you.